Good morning. I would like to start by saying, Colonel Sutherland, I appreciate you, and thank you. I am a wife of a Marine Corps veteran. I am a mother of 5, and I am one of the 5.5 million military and veteran caregivers in this country. My husband, John, was deployed to Fallujah, Iraq in 2004 with 1st Tank Battalion. While he was there, he was exposed to several blasts, as many service members are. He never bled, he never caught shrapnel, and he returned home uninjured. But when he returned, he was very quickly diagnosed with PTSD. The medications were prescribed, and the minimal treatment was given. He also started experiencing things like chronic fatigue, chronic pain. Marine Corps just kept saying, you're good, you're fine, here's some ibuprofen. And John just continued to say, I just need to get out. I need to get out of the Marine Corps, and everything will be fine. Everything will change. So he finished up his 2 years and was honorably discharged in September of 2006. And both of us being native to Southern California, he's from Los Angeles and I'm from the desert, we definitely couldn't afford Los Angeles and didn't want to stay in the desert. So we found a place that had the cheapest rent that was in between. And we've been there ever since. John immediately went into a civilian job, and he continued to do that job. But things did not get better as he had hoped. Things actually became much, much worse. The rage at this time had shown itself completely. The anger was in full effect, and so was the depression. He would return home from work and walk straight to the bedroom and not say a word to the kids and I for days. One day I asked him to go with us to get a pizza at Costco for dinner. And as we're standing in line getting our pizza, waiting for our pizza, it's quite a big line. We had all 3 kids with us. And there was a woman who comes really very quickly, and says, I just need to let them know I'm here to get my pizza. And that's what we were all there to do. We were waiting to get our pizza. Well, in my husband's mind, she wasn't following the rules. And so he started to make comments to her. Well, that's what we're all doing here, and getting back of the line, we're all waiting. And so he started being very rude to her. And here comes a man pushing a cart with a little baby. And he sees this other man making comments to his wife. So the 2 men, my husband and this other woman's husband, they began to go at it right there in the middle of the Costco food court. And it became louder and louder, and I immediately got in between the 2. And I could see in my husband's eyes that he wasn't going to back down. And I turned to the man and I said, please walk away. And he said, I'm not going to walk away. And I'm thinking, John's going to snap, something's going to happen. And at that point, I thought to myself, I have to say something to get this man to walk away. And I said, he's a veteran. I don't care if he's a veteran. And I thought, oh gosh, that didn't do it. And I said, he has PTSD, walk away now. I think that did it because he did kind of back off and he walked away. Not very far because he was actually parked right next to the pizza line. So he didn't go very far, and the guys continued to scream and yell at each other. But this became norm. This was the norm as our 3 children sat there and cried. July 19, 2009, nearly 3 years, my husband had worked a civilian job and had been out of the Marine Corps, not service-connected, hadn't filed a claim. He was sitting on our couch, hadn't shaved, hadn't showered, hadn't cut his hair for the past month. All he could say to me was, I'm spinning. He then confided in me that he was not only suicidal, but he was homicidal. And he was planning to kill his boss. So, at that moment, I knew that I needed to do something. I walked to my bedroom, I picked up the phone, I called the VA crisis line. Through my shaking and through my crying, I quietly pled to this woman. I had no idea what to do. So we made arrangements to bring my husband into the VA, and there he was hospitalized. From that hospitalization, changed our lives forever. He was then quickly diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, and I had never heard of traumatic brain injury. This was in 2009, and even then, you could Google it. There was nothing really pertaining to TBI, let alone a blast injury. Shortly after that, he was diagnosed with a neurological visual impairment that was connected to his traumatic brain injury. He had been living with a neurological visual impairment. The most recent diagnosis that has been the toughest for me and the biggest fight for me is epilepsy. You know, I'm quite a go-getter, not to toot my own horn. But when I wasn't getting the answers that I felt that we deserved and we needed, I did all the research that I could possibly do. I read and read and read everything that I can find about these issues and the correlation between these issues, and really threw myself into this. But I blinked one day. And where I found myself was in a place that I was always conscious of, making sure I was okay. And I was not okay. I was depressed. I was burned out. And quite frankly, I found myself in a corner in our living room crying and not knowing if I could do it anymore. On December 1st of last year, my husband had his first grand mal. He was taken by ambulance to our local hospital, and many people within my community, I mean, they just wanted to help. And I got many phone calls, you know, of different resources. And someone, and I can't even remember who mentioned it to me, but they said, Operation Family Caregiver. I said, okay. I liked the way it sounded, and I said, let's do it. And I got the number, I called, I made arrangements to meet with my caregiver coach, still not even knowing what the program offered, but I knew that I needed that help. And I realized my strength was my weakness as well, because I was afraid to ask for help. When I met with my coach, I still didn't know what to expect, but really it came down to, Nikki, what's your biggest stressor? What's been the thing this last week that has, you know, really got you going? And we would talk about that, and we would break that down to where that stressor really didn't seem as big as what it felt before I walked in there when I met her. So I could walk away from that, I could get over that hurdle, and I was okay. And we would meet at Starbucks. And you know, us caregivers, we hear a lot. You need to take an hour for yourself. Well, I don't have an hour. I have 5 kids, I have a husband. An hour can be hard sometimes. But my caregiver coach said to me, do you have 60 seconds? I would be lying if I said I didn't have 60 seconds. So I said, yes, I have 60 seconds. And so we sat in Starbucks, and she taught me how to do the deep breathing. And we sat there at this little table right where the line was, and we're sitting there with our eyes closed, and I have one eye open, you know, because what are these people doing? And the thing is that she held me accountable. So when we met the next week, she would say, what did you do? You know, what did you do for yourself this last week? And I was so excited to share with her what I did. Oh, I actually got a pedicure, or, you know, I went and I did something for myself. But in retrospect, I've realized that my caregiver coach gave me the permission that I wasn't giving to myself to take that time. And I'm so grateful for being here. Thank you.